find one of the main issues that people have is they just don't get started. They're almost waiting for the perfect environment, but I believe it's never going to exist. So typically people want high rent, high growth, low interest rates, easy to borrow money, and easy to buy property. There's plenty on the market. And I don't think there's ever been a case in the last 20 or 25 years that I've been doing it that it's ever been like that, and there's always something missing. So if you think about things at the moment, is the rents now are probably pretty low. The growth is still there depending on the area you're in. Sure, we've still got low interest rates, which is a good thing, but it's getting harder and harder to borrow. And depending on the area you're buying in, then it's pretty hard to buy at the same time. But I still think it's a good time. I think any time's a good time, as long as you're buying the right properties in the right location on a bank valuation price, and you're looking to hold on for 10, 20 or 30 years, and you've got the cash to support it for the next, say, 1 to 3 or 5 years, then I think it's a perfect time. But look, at times things will get tough, and so you've always got to think about why you're doing this. Go back to your original why, your picture, and if you don't know what your why is, then nothing's going to happen because you're going to just find it too hard. So, as with everything, the most successful people are the ones that set goals all the time, and the unsuccessful people let others set goals for them. They're being told what to do, and they've got no passion in there or no belonging in there, and that's why things don't work. So if you go into the Property Wallet, you're going to find some details on setting goals, and we talk specifically about SMART goals. So goals that are specific, they're measurable, they're achievable, they're realistic, and they're time-driven as well. And so it's really, really important that you actually go and set some goals. So I'd suggest going to the Property Wallet, fill in all of those details, and make sure you follow every single step. So going into a bit more detail about these SMART goals, let's break them down. So S is for specific. And what this really means is you can't just say, I want to retire rich, because rich has got different meanings for different people, and you won't know when you've actually physically achieved it. So to some people it could be $100,000, to other people it could be about $1 million. So the main thing is you need to put a dollar figure to it, and so by going through all your dreams before, you can then put a figure behind that and then say is either I need to get to 5 million, say, of net assets, or $1 million of net assets, or rich to me is having a passive income of, say, $100,000 a year. Now, M is for measurable. And so what you might say is, like, if you want to get to $1 million by the time you're 65, or $5 or $10 million, I need to purchase, say, 3 properties to achieve that. Now, to get those 3 properties, I need to save $50,000 as a deposit to get the ball rolling. Now, to get that $50,000, maybe I need to save, say, $2,000 to $3,000 a month for a certain period of time. Now, in order to be able to save that $2,000 or $3,000, I need to get a bonus within my job, or I need to earn a certain amount within my job, or do a certain amount of activity within that to get that extra $2,000. Or maybe it is that you've got to get a second or third job to give you that extra income. So you can then break that thing down even further to say, well, I've got to meet 10 clients, because I know if I meet 10 clients, then I'm going to get a certain result. To get those 10 meetings, I've got to speak to 30 people. To speak to 30 people, I've then got to ring 50. So my goal is I've got to ring 50 new customers a week, which means I've got to ring 10 a day. And you could then break that down between morning and afternoon. And that's the way you're getting towards those SMART goals. Now, A is for achievable. And you've got to get something that's achievable, otherwise it's a complete waste, because you're going to get into failure and it's not going to happen. You're not going to walk away. Now, to ring 50 customers in a week is a lot of customers, but as we broke it down before, to ring 10 a day is not too bad, and you broke it down to 5 in the morning, 5 in the afternoon, that's even easier, and quite often a phone call's maybe only 10 minutes, and so suddenly you're only talking about 2 hours a day. But if you suddenly think, I've got to do 50, and you put it off till Friday, then that's not something that's going to work. So I suggest doing things like that, breaking it down, and then actually booking time in your diary. And rather than leaving it to the end of the day, is saying, right, 9 o'clock on a Monday morning, I'm going to do my first 10 calls, and in the afternoon, I'm going to start them at 1 o'clock, rather than trying to leave it till later. So that's the way you're going to do things. Now, R is for realistic. Now, set 1 or 2 goals. Don't try and do 10 or 20 because it's just not going to go. You'll build your confidence up. If you set a few easy to achieve goals, you go and do that, then you can push yourself a tiny bit further, and then before you know it, you're getting further and further. So just remember my talk about jogging. Just do a couple of minutes every day, then build it up to 10 minutes. Before you know it, you'll be doing 20 minutes, then 40 minutes, and then an hour. It's amazing how it comes around. Now, T is for timeline or time driven. Now, if the ultimate dream is to have the lifestyle you want, then maybe an example of a timeline is, at the age of 65, I want to be able to retire on $1 million worth of equity or $1 million of cash in the bank. Now, to build up that goal, you've got to break that down to say, I've got to buy 5 properties to get to the $1 million, and I've got to do 1 now, 1 in 5 years, 1 in 10, and maybe 1 in 15 years. Now, the reason for putting a time frame is because otherwise people procrastinate and they just keep putting it off. If there's a definite deadline, then obviously you need to take some action. And rather than trying to put it off all the time, just go and do it now rather than saying I'm going to do it tomorrow. So just think, if you've got kids and you're trying to get them to eat their vegetables before they eat their dessert, it's just get the bad stuff over and done with, and then the rest of it's a pleasure. Whereas if you eat all the good stuff and do all the easy stuff to start with, and then you're always dreading you've got to do the bad stuff, you'll never get around to it. So my idea is, like Nike, just go and do it.